Hello, everyone, and welcome to our newest video. Elijah and myself are going to be talking about the upcoming Mistborn movie. For those of you who don't know, it is a book series by Brandon Sanderson that is going to have a huge adaptation by Apple, and we're excited. We've both read the series. We are extremely excited to see this movie, and so today we thought we would throw in our ideas for who should be cast as the various characters in this movie. This is a very niche video, so if you haven't read the books, this might not click with you. But if you have read the books, I think you're going to like our ideas. Now, neither of us know what the other person has on their list, so you'll be hearing two different picks for each person, probably. I don't know if we're going to share any or not. But that's what this video is going to be. We're super excited. We're going to pitch our people. Brandon Sanderson, if you're watching, or Apple, I think we got some good ideas.
I think we got you covered, Apple. I think we got you covered. All right, brother. Hear me out. I've got what one would call it some casting wishes for this movie. Okay. So I'm going to start off simple. I would love, optimally, for all the younger actors to be unknowns. I would love to kind of step into this and not know them from anywhere. Find some talent who can kind of buy into this role, grow into these roles. I'm thinking Vin, Ellen, Shan, any of your Spook, your younger crew. I would love it. That would be my ideal for them to be unknowns. My second is allow for, your older roles, allow those to be more tailored to your older actors, more seasoned actors, maybe 2 or 3 big stars for the movie, but not like, an Odyssey level where every single character is played by someone huge, your A-listers. With that being said, I think they're going to put so much effort into this movie. This is going to get the treatment, but I think what they're going to put most into is finding people who are going to bring the crew to life. If you're not familiar with Mistborn, it is a heist story. Think about the great heist movies. If your crew isn't peak, it's not going to work. It's not going to go over. Think Ocean's 11. If you didn't have a charismatic crew, the story it wouldn't be as good. And so that's exactly what they're going to be doing for Mistborn. They're going to be looking for people who embody this lively crew. That's where their talent's going to go. Look to Lord of the Rings, because I think that's what Sanderson and Apple and the whole team is going to be looking towards for their adaption standard. They're going to be looking at that for their influence. Lord of the Rings assembled a team of recognizable actors. They had some big talent. They had some A-listers in there, but then they also had a lot of people who were just solid, who were just good at what they did, and they raised the movie standard by that. So that being said, a couple of mine are probably a little distracting, but
we had to pick
overall,
somebody.
I think the performances from some of these actors and actresses, they're going to sell these characters to an unfamiliar audience, because the level of world building, the level of in-depth magic and science and explanation that's going to go on, you're going to need some tethers. You're going to need some people who you can just connect with right away and just go. So with that being said, let's go.
Let's go. One other thing. This video, I think for both of us, was not sourced from any fan cast sites or theories. This is just us. So if we overlap with the fans' ideas of things, that's just a coincidence, or it means we're all thinking the same thing. But we didn't go and research what everyone else thinks. This is just our ideas. Except for my choice for the character of Ham. I did go to a fan casting site because I couldn't think of anyone, but I picked the 25th person on the list, so
there you go.
I just wanted to be honest about that one. Besides that, this is all us. This is just off the top, what we're thinking.
Well, I think yours are going to be a little more in-depth than mine. You've seen more movies. You have a little more range. Mine, you're going to see where I drew my sources from, but that's okay. That's okay. Brother, let's begin.
Let's do it.
We're going to start off with kind of your younger crew. We've got Vin, Ellen, and Shan. If you're not familiar with those characters, we'll give a little bit, but again, not too much, so that way if you haven't read the book, it won't be too spoilery. Brother, who is your pick for the main character of Mistborn, Vin?
So, Vin. There's a few things about her that I was looking for when I was doing this. First off, She's upper teenager to mid-teenager in the books, though Brandon Sanderson has already talked about he's going to probably age her up to more of upper teenager, maybe low 20s. So I was looking in that age range. She's known to be kind of small and scrawny. She's quiet, but then she can be intense at times. So I'm looking for someone who kind of has that range and that look, kind of a loner. I didn't necessarily think like someone who's done this exact kind of role, but I was thinking of the look and just someone who could pull it off in the age range.
Yeah.
The name I ended up coming up with is Amelia Jones. I don't think you know this actress. She's from the movie Coda. It won Best Picture.
Yeah, I've heard of Coda.
She's the main girl in that movie. I've seen the movie, and she does not play a character very similar to Vin. But from her acting, she's a very good actress, and I think she has the look, and I think she could pull it off with the acting chops. So that was the name I ended up going with. I will say, for these first few, I kind of agree with you of if they pick a Vin I've never heard of, I would prefer that. So this is just one I thought was close with what I could come up with and the names I could think of. I thought this would be a good fit.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, I've never heard of her, but I just Googled her. And yeah, she looks the part, right?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with her acting talent at all, but I raise you one Amelia Jones. And my pick for Vin is Sophia Lillis.
Okay.
If you're not familiar, she gave a really good performance. Have you seen It, Chapter 1?
Yeah.
She's
the girl
Beverly
in the group.
Yeah. And then she also is the one from, she played the role of the druid in D&D, in the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah.
She is 23, so she was like in the perfect age for this. She has kind of that quiet intensity that I think Vin would bring to the table. She's clearly not afraid to be in these kind of movies, but also I think this could be something that would be a more breakout performance because she got a lot of recognition for her role in It. I think this would be a great next step for her career to be in a major blockbuster like this.
Yeah.
And also, I think she has the role to play, the range to play that kind of conflicted nature of Vin without being drowned out by the larger performances that will surround her. So, Sophia Lillis, that's my pick.
Okay. And Amelia Jones, I don't remember if I said it, she's 24. So, pretty much the same age.
Yeah, right in there.
Okay. Well, let's keep going then. So we're going to Elend.
Elend is the love interest of this
series.
Yes,
I don't know how much to say about it.
He is Vin's love interest. This is very surface level. He is a nobleman. He is someone who is like a charming nerd. He loves his books, and you see him at all the dances, and he's sitting in the corners with the book propped open. Who you got?
So for this one, I went with a name that you will know when he was younger. I went with Roman Griffin Davis, the main kid from Jojo Rabbit. He was also in The Long Walk. He was in that movie as well. So if you see him in that, he's older. He's 19 right now, so he's 5 years younger than my Vin, though in the books their ages are the opposite. But, he'll be a little bit older. They can make people look older and younger a little bit. I think he's got the acting chops where he can pull off some of the awkwardness and some of the nerdiness, while also, I think as he's gotten older, I'm sure he's gotten better with some of the more intensity that he could bring. And I think he has the look.
I think he is.
If you look up what he looks like right now, I think he'd be a good one.
Brother, my pick is interesting.
Okay.
I question whether my pick is a good actor.
Okay.
To search for actors in their young 20s and it not to be Timothée Chalamet, I struggled. So here we go. The actor that I went with to play Vin is Tanner Buchanan.
Okay. Cobra Kai. I see it.
So think about this. Think he has the charm of being able to play that reclusive nerd pretty well. I think as long as they do, the makeup and costuming pretty well. This might just be a symptom of Cobra Kai. I think there's kind of an EW level of acting across the board. Like if you're watching like Flash or something like that, where there's some moments of great acting, but then it's kind of like, whatever. But I think if you kind of step it up into the next major role, I think he could kind of tell this story of Ellen Venture pretty well.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And he's in the right range. He's in the right age range.
I like that. I think Tanner Buchanan might be a better pick than mine. I think. He's got the intensity for sure, but he can pull off the shy, nerdy part as well. I like that pick. That's an interesting one. Okay. I see what you're doing here.
What I have. Okay. Let's jump to Shan. This is a girl who, in the book, she doesn't have a ton of screen time, but she is kind of an enemy to Vin's role. Vin's role is to infiltrate the party scene and to infiltrate the great houses and stuff like that. And so Shan is kind of the antithesis to that. Who are you thinking?
Shan is also engaged to Elend,
Oh
so
yeah, forget about that. That's a
almost
major
love triangle esque. Okay,
esque.
my pick. I went with Odessa Azion. She's from the movie Marty Supreme. That's the
Okay.
only thing I know her from.
Okay.
She's a great actress in that movie. She pulls off a sympathetic and also kind of antagonistic. I think for the character, she needs to go more towards the antagonistic side. She's got the look for sure. If you look up a picture of her, she's got the look. She's a great actress. I think it would be interesting if they kind of promote this character more in the movie. I think it's a natural villain of the movie, not a main villain, but a natural like antagonist for Vin.
Sure.
And so I think she could pull it off. And she's also a bigger name in kind of the film critic scene. So I think she might be able to bring in some more of those people. And so
Okay.
that's who I would pick.
There you go. Well, I went with someone known for their stellar performance in a Minecraft movie. I went with Emma Myers.
Okay.
Now, hear me out. Minecraft movie, that's kind of a joke. She was in that. But I don't know if you've seen Wednesday or not, but she does a really good job with her performances in that. I think she would be able to have kind of the complexity and play out the action very well to be a strong performer for this character.
I like the pick. I actually looked at her potentially for Vin, and I ended up
really
not.
Okay.
Okay. I see where you're going here. Now that we're transitioning maybe more to the crew, do we want to hit Spook first while we're still with the younger people?
Let's, because Spook is the one I've got nothing. So
yeah,
the actor I picked, I looked for a while because I really was trying to pick someone a little more out of the range. And the actor I settled on is actually someone I went and like watched a bunch of his, clips from his movies and stuff like that, but I've never actually seen something that he's in. He is Gabriel LaBelle. Are you familiar with him?
I recognize the name.
Okay.
He's in the Fablemans, right?
Yes,
okay.
He's in the Fablemans.
Yeah.
And he had a really notable role in that. I watched some clips from that. Really solid performance. He's rocking the beard right now, but when he's like clean shaven, dude looks like he could play someone who's supposed to be Spook's age, around 18 or so. He has that youthful air with his performance. He has both the innocence, I think, to play young Spook, but then as the character matures, I think he could bring that level of performance as well.
Okay, I like it. The pick I ended up going for was Alfie Williams. He's from 28 Years Later, and the second one. He's 15, so he is younger, but if you're planning to use him across multiple movies, I think he'll stay at an age where you can very much work with him. Great actor. I've seen just those two movies he's in. I think he's not in much else just because of how young he is, but really good actor. He can pull off exactly what you're looking for in a Spook, so that was who I ended up going with.
Very good. All right, let's move on to the main crew now. Who do you want to start with?
Clubs.
Okay.
All
right, so who is your pick for Clubs?
My Clubs is my favorite pick in the crew. Out of the lesser crew, the side character crew, my favorite pick. Holt McElhaney. He's in the show I've been watching lately, Mindhunters. He's one of the leads in that show. He's also in The Iron Claw. He plays the dad in that movie. He's also in Fight Club. He was in Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. He's been some stuff like that. Older guy, great actor. He brings the grit and grumpiness that this character needs. And also,
so grumpy.
He's recognizable, but he's not like a big star, so it won't cost a ton to get him. But also, he's one of those guys where you're like, oh yeah, I know, I like him. I've seen him. He's a good actor. I love him, especially because I've been watching the show that he's in, and he's amazing in it. My favorite pick. If they picked this guy out of the side character crew, that would be my favorite one out of all the ones I have.
I like it.
Also, Clubs. He's an older guy. He's kind of the veteran of the group. He's a former military leader. He's older, but he's fit. He's kind of a gnarled looking guy. So that's just kind of a brief description of him also.
Yeah, we'll make sure to do that before the characters.
Yes, probably a good idea.
Okay, here's my pick. And I'm pretty happy with it because, like I said, I think for the crew is going to get an emphasis on attractability. I think for an older, seasoned actor, I think they're going to bring in Viggo Mortensen. Now,
Okay. Okay.
obviously, man was in a huge franchise. He was Aragorn in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking Sean Bean here. I'm thinking, he had his secondary role in a fantasy, series with Game of Thrones and stuff like that. Give the same to Viggo. He plays nicely in an ensemble.
Yeah.
But he's experienced. He's doing a lot of really smaller projects right now. He's not caught up in any big franchises. He's doing a lot of writing and directing. And I think if you bring him in to do this, I'm curious because maybe, since he is doing all this writing and directing now, he might want to dodge another franchise. But it's also at the time of filming, it'll have been over 25 years since Lord of the Rings. Give the man one more standout performance in a fantasy movie. Bring in Viggo Mortensen.
Okay. I like it. I like my pick more, but I like it.
That's okay. If I knew who your pick was, I'm sure I'd like them too. All right. Up next is Breeze. Breeze is one of my favorites from the crew. He is probably mid-40s is about how the book describes him. He is in the upper class of society, so he always kind of presents himself. He has this cane he carries around. He kind of dresses nicely. As he's working with the thieving crew, he kind of has the charming gentleman air about him, and he has a lot of really fun stuff as the story progresses. Who you thinking?
Okay. My pick was not the best. When upon research, I realized he's in his 80s, and so I said, this might not be the person to pick, but he's got the right vibes for what I wish Breeze would be, because I do love Breeze. Okay. I think he's the most interesting of the side character crew. I think for sure. So they need to bring someone who can have that charisma, that manipulation. He has a heart. Great character. My pick ended up being Ian McShane from the John Wick movies.
Yeah.
He's way too old though. So, but get someone like him. He's got the suave, the charisma. He can play kind of a friend and kind of not a friend. And I love his energy and his vibe.
Do you know who's got the suave, debonair charisma you want from Breeze? Tom Hiddleston. Now, hear me out.
Okay,
hear me out.
I'm hearing.
Obviously, he's mostly known for his role as Loki, right? Like that's what's put him on. But he hasn't done much outside of that. He's done some, but he hasn't done much. And I think having such a big role in a movie like this and getting to show a very different side, because he's not playing some anti-hero, he's not playing some villainous role. He's playing a charming, which we know he can pull off well, hero. And he can play the complex side and would do really good at playing flawed perfectly. Like I said, he's a stellar actor. That's why they keep bringing Loki back for all these movies. If Tom Hiddleston's performance wasn't as good as it was, they wouldn't keep bringing him back. But give him, in this fantasy franchise, let him spread his wings. Because I think this role would have a lot of things that are very classic Hiddleston without being like just typecasting or derivative of roles he's played before.
Okay. I like it. It's better than my pick.
If your pick was 40 years younger, I think it could be a good pick.
If you just took him from Hot Rod like 20 years ago, I think he could do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, who's next?
Ham. So Ham is kind of your brute force of the group a little bit. They are a pewter user, and so that means they have a lot of strength and stuff. They're also a veteran, and so they have a lot of this background knowledge because they build up Kelsier's army throughout the first book. In one of Sanderson's previous drafts, he said he was looking at gender swapping a character, and he said if he was going to gender swap one character, it was probably going to be Ham. So bear that in mind. I think we went two different directions with this. This is the only thing we talked about beforehand. Who would you pick to play Ham if they don't gender swap it?
My pick was Winston Duke M'Baku from Black Panther. Yeah. Also, another thing about this character, he's kind of a kind-hearted, poetic type guy. He wants to have like interesting debates with people and discussions and that. I feel like he could pull off that while also pulling off being the muscle and like the strong guy and getting in there in the fights. I think he can pull off both sides of it. He's got the look. That's my pick.
Okay, that's good. I was looking up a lot about Ham. It looks like Ham's early to mid-30s, kind of talking about this stuff. And I was like, okay, trying to adapt this for who could play this well as a woman. My pick is Saoirse Ronan.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, she's had a lot of huge roles in the past few years. I think kind of had her standout like first role in the like 2019 Little Women. She, I think, has been in a lot of these roles where she could embody the physicality while also having that heart that Ham is known for. And you get to see a lot of them. I think she could almost serve as kind of like your Liv Tyler of this franchise, where she, like Liv was like a top billed actress, and they got her for kind of a smaller but complimentary role. I mean, obviously Saoirse Ronan's a huge actress, but I think you put her in this role where she's complimenting the rest of the crew, and I think she could carry a smaller but still like really prominent and powerful role.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, we went with the different genders on this just to give you both sides of it. So.
Just in case. Just in case.
Yeah. Okay.
I gotta say, I like them both. So, all right.
Doxson. Okay. Part about him, he's kind of the straight man of the group. He's just kind of almost the average guy. I think if I remember correctly, I wrote it down. He almost gives off like nobleman vibes is one way he's described. Of like, he seems like a little bit more put together than a heist crew would normally be.
Yeah.
He's around the same age as a Kelsier and Marsh. So he's middle-aged. I ended up going with Aaron Taylor Johnson is who I went with. I think he could pull off the suave. But I think if they do his costume and makeup right, he won't look too charming, I guess, because
he won't be too hot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's who I ended up going with. He fits in a similar age, kind of between the Kelsier and Marsh I'm looking at, and so that's who I went with. I think he's also a big name, but with the role of it being more minor, he doesn't have to put a ton of time into it for the series. I think he'd be a good get.
I think he'd do well. I think this is the one I would have to sell the most.
Okay.
My thought for Doxson, this is, like you said, this is someone who's, pushing back and forth with Kelsier. Like if Kelsier has this crazy plan, Doxson pushes back, and so they kind of have this fun dynamic. Adam Scott.
Okay.
Now hear me out.
I'm here.
He has a relationship already with Apple TV from Severance, right? A few seasons of that. Obviously brings a great performance. He's got a ton of other stuff. He's normally typecast as this straight man. He's normally typecast as this guy who, always wears the suit, always is put together, whatever. But also with that, he's kind of typecast for these snobbish or elevated types. I think that his acting skills would shine for a role whenever you kind of take him out of the typical things that that I've seen him in and that I've seen him play. I think you put him in this setting, you put him in the right outfit, you give him the right hairstyle and right stuff so that it's not jarring to see him, because he's always very put together and stuff like that. Yeah. I think you could really see him as someone who kind of has that air of Doxson. He's about 10 years older than Mike Kelsier because, again, in the books, they're much closer in age. I think he could play really well with this group of actors and bring just that kind of ringleader aspect that you need from Doxson. He's someone who you could look at and be like, okay, he's the responsible guy. He's the one in this crew who's doing all this stuff. Like I said, I think it's one that I don't know why it was the first one or we talked about doing this that popped in my head. And I was like, that doesn't fit at all. I don't know why he popped in my head, but he did. And so I kept him. All right, dude, we are down to like the last four of this list. These are the big four. These are your arguably your headliners. So let's start with Marsh.
Okay.
This is Kelsier's brother. He is tasked in the book with infiltrating and doing this spy stuff. He's charming. He's got a lot of great things, but he's also, he can be very serious.
He's also he's got to be pretty intense with where his character goes. Dark. He also is someone who needs to be able to stick around for a while for filming in terms of, you're going to maybe need to be in multiple different series, potentially, depending on how things go. If you're looking for a character, he's taller. He's similar looking to Kelsier, like kind of a hawk nose. He can pull off bald. He's charming, but also is going to get that intensity we're talking about. I ended up going with Callum Turner. I don't know if you know him. He's in the movie Eternity. He was in Fantastic Beasts, the first one, and some other random things. I think he's got the age. I think he's got the look. And I think he's got the acting. And he looks kind of similar to Mike Kelsier. So that's who I went with.
Brother, I picked someone who can act with more than just their eyes. Someone who I would have to take from a different role that you cast them. For Marsh, I picked Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Okay.
Now, hear me out. This is someone that favors like all the traits that you just listed for how Marsh looks, almost to the T, just physicality matching. Aaron Taylor Johnson has this. I can't say who he favors because we haven't gotten to Kelsier yet, but look at his performance in Kraven the Hunter. Man, look at how solid that movie was, and just the good movie Kraven the Hunter was. And think, don't you want him in your franchise? I jest. But I think he embodies the role enough, and he plays the physicality of Marsh because Marsh is a very intense physical presence, while also I think he's got good acting and he's got enough humor that he can play off of Kelsier. They've got a really good like brother relationship and stuff like that. That's what I thought.
think he's also a name that could draw people in. He's more of a bigger name. So I like that.
And he's young too, young 40s. So like like you said, an actor with staying power, he's gonna bring it.
Okay. I like both of our picks.
Who do you want to get?
Let's knock out. Let's do Sazed. Okay, let's go. Okay. Sazed, Lord Ruler, Kelsier. The big three. Okay. My Sazed, I think, is the best pick I made in this entire video.
Okay. Let's see.
There is not a better actor who could be picked for this role than who I'm going to say.
Maybe I should go first then.
Go first.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
Okay. I went with Coleman Domingo. His best role was Sing Sing. He's also the announcer and the Running Man.
Oh, yes.
Yes. He's in the movie Michael, which I didn't see, but he's the dad in that movie. You have to watch Sing Sing to know what I mean. That character is basically Sazed in personality. He pulls it off masterfully. He is the best choice for this character. If you've read Mistborn and you've watched Sing Sing, if you overlap with me in this Venn diagram, you know he would be the perfect pick. That's who I would go with.
Okay. Brother, I'm going to go with someone who is in need of redemption. I'm going to go with someone who has been cut off at the knees time and time again and who should be an A-lister right now. My pick for Sazed is John Boyega. Hear me out.
Okay.
Obviously known for his performances in the sequel series. He played Finn in Star Wars and brought his A game with The Force Awakens. You see the spark of life in that man, the whole movie. He is what carries that entire movie is his performance. I think about 10 years removed from that right now. I think he is at the perfect age to play this character. I think he would bring an air of wisdom, and he is an actor with presence. He's an actor with a lot of talent, and I think he would be believable as Kelsier's steward and them playing off of each other. I think he could bring that spark of excitement whenever he's talking about the religions and the different things, and he's describing all these things. I think he's someone who, just like you see the passion in Sazed in book 1, I think you would see that same fire in John Boyega. Again, should have been a major breakout star from the Star Wars franchise, but they handled his character so wrong that I think people just wanted to avoid him, kind of the Daisy Ridley problem where she's a great actress, but people just don't want to go anywhere near her because of the Rey problem. But I think he just hasn't been given the chance to shine and to thrive by nature of poor scripts and poor character writing. And I think by handing him this role, arguably the performance that needs to be sold the most in this movie, this is someone who has to believe in this character. I think he would bring a level of acting he hasn't been allowed to display before.
Okay.
John Boyega.
Do you think he's too young?
No, he's in his 40s.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the same age as Kelsier in the book, and so he's the same age as Mike Kelsier.
Okay.
So yeah, young 40s. I think he would kill it.
All right, I like it. I don't like it as much as mine, but I like it.
I don't like yours as much as mine. Yours is too old.
Okay. He is older. Sazed gives me an elder member of the crew type of vibe.
And Sazed has wisdom. Brother, we are down to the last two. Let's land with style. Lord Ruler, the main villain of this movie, the immortal emperor who has ruled for 1,000 years. Who you got?
So here's what I'm looking at for the Lord Ruler. There's some descriptions of him: tall, handsome, charismatic. Described with pale skin and black hair. That's pretty easy to pull off with makeup for anybody, so I wasn't looking for that as much. He's described as a mixture of charismatic, but also he has kind of a general disdain for everyone around him. He's above everyone else. He considers himself a god. And so he kind of has that distant air, but he can also get very enraged at moments. It's also, this is a role you can get a big name because you really want to sell this role.
This is a role Sanderson has expressed. Like he said, when talking and all the question stuff, he said if he could get one A-list actor, it would be for this role. So who you bringing?
The character is described at different ages because of the powers he has. He can look pretty young most of the time. Not like 20s young, but he can be pretty younger, middle-aged. And then obviously with makeup stuff, you can make people older and younger and all that. Anyway, the pick I ended up going with was Jake Gyllenhaal for this pick.
Ooh.
I don't know how popular that pick would be, but think about how he could pull this off. Jake Gyllenhaal, Nightcrawler. Jake Gyllenhaal, Prince of Persia. Jake Gyllenhaal, anything else. He's got the look. He's got the acting chops for sure. He can pull off all... Just imagine Jake Gyllenhaal looking at a crowd and he doesn't care about them at all. He could pull that off. Imagine Jake Gyllenhaal in a one-on-one fight and he's just like ready to kill someone. He can pull that off. Imagine him being charming. Imagine him being charismatic.
I don't have to imagine.
No,
I don't have to imagine
he can do it. You don't have to imagine. He's a big name, and I think if you show him this part, I think he'd be interested, and I think he should be interested because he'd be a great pick.
Yeah, I think that is a great pick. Mine skews a little bit older, but I think brings a similar powerhouse of acting. My pick was James McAvoy.
Okay.
So, obviously he could do a powerhouse performance and he could bring a lot of depth. And I think you could really feel the age of this, 1,000-year-old ruler. He's a very level character. He's only got a couple crash outs, but there's tons of variance. But with James McAvoy, I think he can make those stable performances really engaging. Think Charles Xavier. He's not a character who does all this yelling and screaming and throwing things around, but he makes the character engaging and makes a performance that isn't him running around screaming and crying because the Lord Ruler wouldn't be. He just carries whatever movie he's in. I mean, look at Split, look at Glass. Say what you will about the movies. McAvoy's performance was fantastic in those. And I think whatever you hand him, he can turn into gold. I think McAvoy would be a solid pick.
I like that. I didn't even think of him, but it's a good pick.
You can't say no to Mr. Tumnus.
Yeah. I mean, he's got every range you could possibly ask for.
Seriously, yeah.
For sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us down to the main man. The sort of lead of the movie. He's co-lead. He's at least the co-lead. This is another one where I think you need some serious acting. You need someone who can pull off extremely charming, but at the same time, this guy is hunting for vengeance. This man, from a different perspective, is the villain, and he's a monster from a perspective. And you need someone who can kind of show off all the different sides of Kelsier, because he's a very complicated and interesting character. He's not just the teacher. He is very different than that.
You also need someone who, as soon as audiences see him, they're going to be rooting for him. You need someone who people are going to love and gravitate towards.
Yes. You need someone who can create a cult basically out of nowhere and sustain it because of the charm and the charisma. You need someone who can pull that off. Here's the name I went with. I went with Lee Pace for this role.
Interesting.
Here's a few reasons I did. I watched part of the show Foundation, which is on Apple TV. So he's already in the family. Wow. He plays one of the 3 emperors of the universe in that show. And the presence he has, the charisma he has that he brings to it. He's also in The Hobbit. He's in Running Man recently, along with Coleman Domingo, another person I said, and many other things. He has the look, I think. He's tall. He's got kind of the sharp nose. He's a little older, but I think he can play younger for sure. Just put some dye in his hair. He doesn't look old in the face. I think he would fit also with my Callum Turner pick for his brother. I think he would be a masterful pick for Kelsier.
That's going to be hard to beat. It's going to be hard to beat. Lee Pace is fantastic. I'm bringing someone who defines charisma. I'm bringing someone who, I'm just hyping it up needlessly. I am bringing someone who looks like they could be the kindred brother of my Marsh, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I am looking for someone who has the depth and soul to play Kelsier. My pick is Sam Claflin.
Okay.
I think he really got on a lot of people's radar with the Hunger Games franchise. He played Finnick. Within 20 seconds, everyone was in love with him from that because he just had humor and heart. I mean, we could talk about Finnick all day. But you see Sam Claflin's acting chops. He's been cast in a half dozen dramas since then. And man, sells. Every performance is so good. He does a great job. But you look at someone like him, Kelsier's thought to be around like 38, 39, 40. That's right where Sam Claflin is. Sam Claflin's 40. He's got the staying power of that. But also, I think you hand him a role this big, and I think he's going to fill those shoes. This is a guy who has been allowed to be a leading man in a lot of dramas and romances and stuff. But I think you let him take the lead in something like this, and he will thrive. I think he has the wit, the charm, absolutely the physicality that the role would demand and bring. And I think he can bring a gravitas to this character that not a lot of actors could manage. But I think Sam Claflin would be the guy.
Okay. I like the pick. I thought about him for actually a couple of different roles, so I think he would be really good. Also, Lee Pace is 47, so he's only 7 years older. That's not a huge difference.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Not
a huge difference.
I like it. Okay.
There we go.
That caps off the list.
Dude.
I hope everyone enjoyed this. For those of you who understand what we're even talking about, we'll see. I will be very interested when they announce the casting if any of the people that we mentioned get cast. That would be really interesting.
We'll definitely have to do a reaction video when they drop the cast. But guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you have picks who you think would make great people to portray these characters that we love and that would make this story what it is, let us know in the comments. If there's any of ours that stand out to you as ones that you think would be perfect, drop it down there. If there's any that are horrible, keep that to yourself. But I was really looking forward to that. I'm excited by these picks, and so that's really cool. I'm excited about this movie. Brother, that's what we got. That's what we got.
Thank you all for joining us.
If you haven't. Yes.
Oh, and before we go, let me add one more thing.
Yeah.